When Mortal Kombat 1 first dropped, it hit, and I think it had a lot of positive reception, and that carried on for a while. However, that would change before Season 2 would even roll in. I'm going to go over each season. Leading up to Season 6, I'm going to share my personal experience with it, and then what I've noticed from other Mortal Kombat fans as well. We're back in the game, we're seeing returning faces from old games, we now have the kameo system, which I was excited for, and there's also a loud fan base that wanted nothing to do with it, and then there was the in-between for people wanting the option for cameos to be shut off. I'm actually okay with that. I think players should have the ability to turn cameos on or off if they want. The players have to try it out, because this is the core mechanic of what the game is meant to be played as. This way the regular player can say they understand how the game's supposed to be played, but it's not for them, and they can continue playing the game without it. It's not forced upon them. I think there was a lot of positive reception with the story from Mortal Kombat 1. You can look at game magazine articles and scores, and I'm not really going to go into that. I'm going to go from what I've seen in my own experience, and that is with other MK fans. We'll get to Scorpion and his palettes in just a moment, because this is Season 1, but this is the time when everybody was also completing the game, or at least most of the people. What I noticed, most people love the game, but also there's a very large majority that said it was a fantastic game, up until the reveal that it was Titan Shang Tsung from Aftermath. Because this is slated to be a new timeline, this is slated to be a new era. Timelines weren't even supposed to, I don't want to say they weren't supposed to be in the game, but they weren't really mentioned or a thought. So yeah, there was some controversy with the story of the game, but for the most part, I think most people enjoyed it. And then we hit Invasions and Kombat League for Season 1. In the comparison to the rest of the seasons, in my personal experience, I would say that both of these lacked compared to the rest. Palette rewards for Season 1 were mostly yellows, and that is representative of Scorpion. It just felt a little bland to have it on every character, and this is what I was getting a feel for of the game. And in Invasions, you couldn't go 5 nodes without getting a new charm, relic, and overabundance, constantly being reminded to pitch charms so you could pick up more. Something else I wasn't a big fan of in the days of the early Invasions were all the ambushes and secret fights that we would run into. I think they could have made the reward system for how they give out palettes to each character more exciting with the ones they gave us, and I'll explain that more at the end of this. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap up Season 1. Now at the time, because the game was new, I was having fun playing Invasions. I know one of the bigger complaints was all of the enemies being armored up, and it really didn't bother me that much. I really blew through everything. I was excited about fighting Scorpion at the end. And yeah, I could definitely acknowledge then that there was too many charms. And as I'm reviewing these seasons right now, I'm going to pass-fail on my opinion for each skin that they've given us. And Scorpion's Invasion skin in Season 1 is a pass for me. I think it's a cool looking skin, and as far as his Kombat League skin that season, I'm going to have to say that's a pass too. And I prefer Scorpion's Kombat League skin over his Invasion skin. Yeah, Baraka Cyrax in Kombat League was annoying as hell. I really did enjoy the first to 3 in Kombat League. Playing the story mode and running through Invasions for the first time was a fun experience. I really had a good time in the first season. My initial reaction to Season 2 was awesome. I love undead things, Halloween themes. I'm a fan of horror. I just like dark things. I think it's cool. Season 1 we went to all these bland yellow and orange outfits for the characters to a more vampire theme. I was really excited for that. And I know this is a personal nitpick, but I don't like seeing the ninjas in each other's colors. I'm not a big fan of that. But I guess since vampire had a tone and it had more than just being gray, I was excited for it. And I already knew what to expect from Season 1, so my hopes weren't high with Season 2. This was actually a pretty exciting change for me. With that being said though, I want to share this real quick. Mortal Kombat has always been analytical about studying their own stats and what players prefer. When I play online, I really don't see characters outside of their own color tones as far as what they can choose. Now I do see some mix-up colors, but it's not like I'm seeing blue Scorpions and red Sub-Zeros a lot. And there was backlash from a lot of fans about this creative decision they made. And that is for the first time giving every character the option to be every single color. I've seen a lot of people complain about it. Of course, I don't see it as much now. I think a lot of people have got it out of their system. But what I'm getting at is Mortal Kombat looks at their stats, and if you're on the same page as me and some of these other Mortal Kombat fans, I think NetherRealm's going to realize it wasn't a decision that a lot of the fans enjoyed. And maybe we won't see this kind of direction of all colors for everyone again in the next Mortal Kombat game. I think a good example of this is tag team mode in Mortal Kombat 9. There was a small group of people that played the hell out of it, and a lot of people want it back now, but they said the reason they didn't bring it back was because not enough people used it. Now, that small rant wasn't the end of Mortal Kombat for me if they decide not to change that. Now, Season 2 was also pretty exciting because we got to see Tremor come in and Omni-Man. Now, I'm not familiar with the guest characters from the other series, but I saw Omni-Man everywhere, and that's pretty typical when a new character drops. That's kind of why I wish combat packs would just release with all the characters when it comes out instead of spacing it out. But I was happy to see Tremor come back in. Unfortunately, he wasn't on the main roster. I wish he could have been. And at the time of Season 2, a lot of people were saying that Tremor was going to be OP, or too OP, broken, the only cameo with time variable in his skills. And it's wild to think back on that now because, personally, I really don't see Tremor that much. I'm not complaining of that though, because whenever I do see a player choose a character that's not used very often, it makes me respect that character that much more whenever that player's good with them. I like weird mix-ups and uncommon characters. I mean, how often do you guys see Havoc players? Now, I had jumped into Mortal Kombat 1 blind. I didn't want any spoilers. So I didn't really know anything about invasions until I started playing it. So with that being said, I also missed out on the first Titan battle. It wasn't until Season 2 for me that I realized there was a Pyramid Mesa to go to where I could try out getting a Titan skin. Now that in itself is really exciting. I was happy to see that, and I know that's not Season 2 exclusive, I just missed out on Season 1. But while on the topic, I do think they should make it more available for players, especially during quiet times in the game while they're working on things. I was happy to see in Invasions that charms and relics were a lot more scarce. They also reduced the armor from normal nodes, and that was nice too. But we can't forget about some of the ugly things that happened too. The seasonal fatalities were way too expensive. Seasonal fatalities sound great on paper, and even better if you can use seasonal coins to buy them. I really do like the idea of more fatalities. I really don't like how they already had a damage control plan on backup in case there was backlash, which there was, and then they went ahead and used it and reduced the price and made it a bundle. I thought that was pretty dirty. Another complaint I have of Season 2, I'm pretty sure it's Season 2, correct me if I'm wrong, the release of Deadly Alliance Sub-Zero came out. And that's great, I want a lot of releases from Deadly Alliance and Deception. But Deadly Alliance Sub-Zero looked nothing like the actual Deadly Alliance Sub-Zero. He looked very generic, and thankfully they came back and upgraded him some. He does look better now. I think he looks fine. But yeah, there was some reasonable backlash coming at this point. So looking back at Season 2 in all honesty, it was favorable for me. I really enjoyed the theme of it. What I really didn't like was obviously the price hikes on fatalities. Actually having to pay for a fatality in general, I just don't think that's right. But new additions like added stage variants were very welcoming, like around Halloween. I'm going to do a pass-fail on Natara's skins for this season. I like both skins better than the primary and the secondary skin. I think the Invasion skin looks okay, but I definitely like the Combat League skin better. I couldn't wait to get this skin. When Season 3 first dropped, I was actually pretty impressed by it because I was looking at it from the perspective of the skins and palettes. I've been vocal about not being the biggest fan of MK1's default designs, but I do think the palettes can make a big difference, and some of these designs have grown on me since the start of the game. Also at the end of Season 2, it was nice that we were able to see what we could expect from Season 3 with the secret fight fighting Sub-Zero, and I'm a big fan of his Invasion skin. This was the first new Sub-Zero design I looked forward to. In all fairness, the classic games had some bad designs too. To me, it doesn't matter how many times they re-release old school skins, I'm always going to be a fan, unless they really mess up the design, I'm always going to be a fan of the callback Mortal Kombat classic skins. As far as the classic ninja skins, I had a feeling it would come, I just didn't know how long it would take. Now, there's still some missing like Ermac and Rain, but fingers crossed we'll see him soon. And I'd still like to see Cyber Smoke, but I'm not getting my hopes up. One of the biggest releases from Season 3 that has stuck since, I would say, is the release of Chameleon. I really don't think there's a lot that can go wrong with Chameleon. She's a cool looking character, she can match up well with most characters, if not all of them. This just feels like one thing that rightfully should be pointed out in Season 3 was the release of Chameleon. I would say if you started with Season 1 and you're still playing around Season 3, at this point in the game, if you weren't feeling the fighting mechanics, then you probably dropped off around this time. Invasions has had small tweaks to it, but nothing revolutionary. I mean, if you're not a PvP player, really what you're left with then is the towers, the seasonal towers, or the hourly, weekly, daily towers. For me, Mortal Kombat 1 has one of, if not my favorite gameplay. I just really like how the fighting mechanics work in this game. I'm glad they brought air combat back. I like cameos being in the game. I think that the meter and the breaker and the fatal blow mechanics all work fine. So with the 2-week delay that was announced for Mortal Kombat 1, it really didn't bother me. It gave me enough time for the first time to clear everything in Invasions, but I will say at the same time I don't think Season should be that long. And a lot of this was in preparation for crossplay. Now Quan Chi also released with Season 3. I think he definitely deserves that shout out. Even then and even now, I still see more Omni-Man players than Quan Chi. Alright, so I went on a pretty big tangent and I cut it out, and that was during this time in Season 3, there was a lot of people on YouTube, or I should say Mortal Kombat content creators, that just trashed the hell out of this game, that also said it was dead as well, and they were continuing to make content repeating the same thing, and then they would piggyback off of each other talking about how bad and how dead the game is, simultaneously while still playing the game, and to this day they are still playing the game. But I definitely have to share that there are some great positive Mortal Kombat YouTubers out there, but they were way outnumbered against how many people just kept saying the game was dead and how bad it was. So yeah, Season 3 was the pinnacle of Mortal Kombat 1 is dead. And again, I want to reiterate, it's obviously fine to criticize the game. It's just there are people that definitely come off as hypocrites. It did inspire me to make my channel though. But yeah, that one's still hard for me to wrap my head around. I don't know how someone can trash talk a game so much while calling it dead and still continuing to play it like they're still playing it. It just doesn't make sense. In a nutshell, I think Season 3 did great. We had some great DLCs. Having Chameleon and Quan Chi this season was also really nice. Since there was a 2-week delay, I did end up completing everything in Invasions, and I can't say that Invasions changed too much. As far as the MK community, I think much of the good things get overshadowed by the 2-week delay in preparation for crossplay. I'm going to rank the Sub-Zero you can get out of Combat League and the one you can get out of Invasions, and I have to say I like both of them a lot. And I'm realizing this is an obvious pattern that out of the Invasion skin and the Combat League skin of each one for each season, I prefer the Combat League skin. I feel like it makes the fighter look just a little bit more fierce. So far that's Scorpion, Atara, and Sub-Zero that I prefer their Combat League skins over their Invasion skins. And last and certainly not least, I have to say that Season 3 has one of the best themes in all of the seasons for the character skins. As you can tell on both sides, this is the season of Mileena. According to NRS anyway. I can't say that I really buy this. The seasonal palettes in Season 4 don't remind me of Mileena at all. Yeah, there was a lot of talk about this one. I have to agree with the backlash on this. I really just don't see Mileena in these skins or palettes. I'm not against the idea of big changes in appearance. I know this image is a little hard to see, but it's a Reddit post, and it says, if Havoc had a season, what would his cosmetics look like? This was posted just a couple months ago. And the top comment speaks for itself. It says, like Season 4. And to sum it up shortly, NRS said that Mileena is an experiment, so these are supposed to be experiments from her timeline. And somehow that gave us green and turquoise colors with mohawks. And they also said it was punk rock. I don't know, I think it's wacky. I do think it was supposed to be Havoc season. And whichever way is right, it still feels like Mileena season got robbed in my opinion. With that being said, I want to talk about the best thing that came to Season 4 in my opinion, and that was King of the Hill on crossplay. Invasions works for me. I think it's okay. I definitely think it can be better, but I'm really just burning through it so I can get the skins and palettes I want. And Season 4 was the first time where I felt like I really don't feel like running Invasions because I'm not excited for the rewards that are inside of it. However, I love playing ranked matches and playing with other people so much that I can dedicate that game time towards PvP and still be super satisfied with this game. And I know I'm speaking from my own experience on this, but in ranked matches and with friends online, I really don't notice much of the Season 4 skins or palettes. That's not to say that there are fans out there, I just don't see it as much. I have to put Season 4, as far as cosmetics, in the worst spotlight. At the same time I look at Season 4 and appreciate it for having King of the Hill and crossplay. I've played with a lot of you guys, and if we haven't played a match together and you'd like to, definitely drop me a comment. Now this update included Smoke, Scorpion, Reptile, and MK3 version of Sub-Zero. And while these are no doubt my favorite skins in MK1 right now, I just hope that Ermac, Rain, and Sub-Zero can get their own UMK3 skins as well. But the combination of King of the Hill and these skins are some of my favorite updates in the game, closing out of Season 4. Unfortunately, I'm not a fan of her Invasion skin, and I'm not a fan of her Combat League skin either. But out of the two, I say the Invasion skin's better than the Combat League one. And that makes the first character where I prefer the Invasion skin over the Combat League skin. Oh yeah, Season 5 came in pretty hot. Honestly, I just have a lot of good things to say about Season 5, which really coming off the heels of Season 4's cosmetics. It's kind of a easy bar to pass. But right off the rip we got Ermac, and that was a great release. Ermac's cool, I'm glad they redid his design. He's also got a different moveset this game, a different way of fighting than he usually does. Speaking of Ermac in general, I'm really happy they went with putting the mask on him. So I'm just going to give my opinion on the designs really quick for Season 5. I was pleasantly surprised with what we got. I uploaded a video of myself called Shrine Drain, and I unlocked everything in the shrine in one sit. And those were all genuine reactions. I was really happy with all the palettes that they gave the characters. For some of them it was just like a neutral gray, and then their eyes had some glow to it. It was simple but effective. And then for more of the premium palettes where it's got the lightning bolts on the skin, I'm not so big on those palettes. Some of them look okay, but for the most part I like the basic ones in this season. But with that being said, importantly, I just really enjoyed the designs of Season 5, so it was a good start going in. You know, honestly, there was a lot of positive stuff with Season 5. Unfortunately, nothing huge came out like online features. You know, it's not like crossplay when it came out, or King of the Hill crossplay. But we were given really good premium store options in my opinion with Shang Tsung, and we also got Quan Chi, both from Deadly Alliance. We also got some Deception skins. I still think Invasions is trying to update. I like that for the first time they allowed you to skip nodes. And I think that should be in there more until they really figure out what they're going to do, because I don't think it's polished yet. We know we can expect more costumes like Scorpion from the first Mortal Kombat movie. The face model for Harumi accidentally leaked the details on her character, which is pretty exciting, everything except for, obviously, the announcement date. Ghostface was also leaked. That's been leaked for a bit. I also shared that in a video as well. That time there was some people giving some pushback. Not a lot, but there was people giving pushback on this channel that Ghostface probably wouldn't happen or it's unrealistic, but he's definitely coming. Now I can't forget to mention Movado. I'm also really excited that Movado's in this game. In fact, I think any 3D character can be added in this game and I'll be happy. There are some I'm less favorable to, like Boraicho. But the way they did him in MKX, if we get an iteration like that, I'd be happier with a version like that. Or even Madame Bo, if that is the reimagination. I would like to have Madame Bo in the game. I really don't know what the deal with that is, still. However, it was around this time that a leak was going around that all these new characters would be coming out in a content patch, like Blaze and Shinnok, and yeah, some of these are possible, but this specific leak that dropped is absolutely fake in my opinion. All the leaks that I've shared so far on this channel are by the same users that have gave information that has been confirmed since the game launched, that has came true so far with releases. And then there's this outlandish leak, which has all these different characters. It's from an anonymous post. I don't even want to cover all of it because it's stinky. It was a troll post. But I don't want to close out on Movado so quick. I do want to wrap him up by saying that I'm happy that they brought his moves back from Deadly Alliance. Also, there was a huge update where Shujinko got some added buffs, and I still don't ever see him online, and I don't use him either. But I have used him. I got the turquoise outfit. All in all though, I had a great time with Season 5. Season 5 is up there. It's definitely got to be in my top 3 seasons. Which I know there's only 6, but I'm just saying, Season 5 is one of the best ones for me so far. I didn't experience any bug issues. It was a great season for DLC. It was a great season for palettes. I'm a fan of the theme and the character for the season. And that brings me to grading Raiden. And that is, do I prefer his Invasion skin or his Combat League skin for Season 5? With most seasonal skins, it seems that the Combat League variations have more detail than the Invasion skin. However, in Raiden's case, I prefer the simplicity of the colors, so I'm going to choose Raiden over the Combat League skin this season. That's not Reptile's Invasion's outfit. At the time of this recording, Season 6 is not over yet. However, we are far enough in that I can give it some judgment. and there are some ups and downs. The downside first is the lack of content, and that was noticed immediately. There was nothing in the shrine except for a skin and palettes for Quan Chi, and the seasonal store has next to nothing. There are some nice skins in there, but only half the roster has them available. But on the plus side, I can say that most of them are Titan skins, and that's a nice change. I'm a fan of the Titan battles. However, this season, I think it was pretty unnecessary to have 5 stages for Havoc. The 5th stage just wasn't fun. I do like actually fighting and having different variations in a Titan fight, but I think 5's overkill in my opinion. Kombat Pack 1 is about to come to an end, and thankfully the data miners are able to tell us to expect the premium store now and for the next season or seasons to be the same. That's because they're wrapping things up in preparation for the next content patch, possibly Kombat Pack 2, but likely to be content patch. Again, I'm thankful for the data miners for letting us know that, but that really should be communicated to us by NRS. Now, we did get word from them that Farah is going to be delayed, and I really think they're just trying to make the next content pop, but it's obvious that they are a little behind. I know this is a small nitpick, but even this is an example that Reptile was the only Invasion's boss that hasn't had their model displayed with the right costume. They just used his default costume and added some glow to it. So to be fair, we still have a month left of Season 6, so I can't fully judge it. But going off the data miners, that's pretty reputable, and I don't think we're going to get much. Although a new Scorpion movie skin would be really cool, or anything of that sort. And just because they're delayed, getting ready for the next content patch, I can't give Season 6 a pass and say that this is fairly a great season. At the same time, I have to wait it out and see what happens. However, 6 seasons in, my biggest complaint right now, or criticism, is I would really like some new costumes for the cameo characters. I would also like some more gear pieces for all the main fighters. And I'm sure this is going to sound like a lot because I've already asked for those too, but it would be really nice to have gear loadouts. I'm going to go ahead and rank Reptile's Invasion skin versus his Combat League skin, and honestly, I have to say I prefer his Combat League skin more. This time I do prefer the added detail. I just think it looks cooler having the extra acid on it. Now there is still time in Season 6, they can add more, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I bit off more than I could chew making this video. Reviewing these seasons, I thought it'd be about 10 minutes. It's turning more into 22 minutes. And the best part about making these videos, guys, is interacting with you. So this was a long one. It does mean a lot if you can leave a like. And genuinely, if you didn't like it, leave a dislike so I know. And I know this video has a lot of opinions in it. It's totally cool to disagree. I want to know what you guys think too. If you're new to the channel, you can go to my other videos and see I engage with almost every comment. I really do like interacting with you guys, and especially knowing your theories and what you think is going to happen in the game as well. So if you like what you see here and you haven't yet, subscribe. And with Kombat Pack 1 ending, fingers crossed that the new content's going to be good. I'm Scotty Combat, and I'll see you guys later.